Hi guys, and welcome back to Miss Educate. Today we are learning about ratio and proportion. So what is ratio? Ratio is comparing values using numbers of the same kind. For example, you might use ratio to compare the number of boys there are in a class to the number of girls. Here we can see we have 2 boys and we have 1 girl. So the ratio is 2 to 1. You might also use ratio when using ingredients in a recipe. Let's take a closer look. What do we have here? We have 3 purple squares and we have 1 orange square. So the ratio here is 3 to 1. You can write 3 to 1 in different ways. Let's have a little look at how you might do that. So you can write it in the way that I just showed you, or you can write it by actually writing the word 2 in between, so 3 to 1. Or you can even write it like a fraction, so 3 over 1. These are the different ways you can write down the ratio. How many spiders can you see in this picture? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spiders. And how many butterflies do we have? We have 2 butterflies. So our ratio here of spiders to butterflies is 5 to 2. And there we see 5 to 2 represented in all those different ways. How many bikes can you see in this picture? That's correct. You can see 6. How many cars can you see? That's correct. You can see 3. So what is the ratio of cars to bikes? If you said 3 to 6, you are correct. For every 3 cars, there are 6 bikes. And here it is shown in all those different ways that you can show the ratio. Okay, it's your turn now. I'm going to show you a picture and I want you to think about what the ratio would be in this picture. So you could write this down on a piece of paper in front of you, or you could tell the person next to you or tell an adult if you're working with an adult. Let's have a look. So we have 1 adult and we have 5 children. So I would like you to think about what is the ratio of adults to children. Pause the video, have a think, and then try to remember all those different ways you can write down the ratio. Okay, how did you get on? Did you write down 1 to 5? If you did, you are correct. There is 1 adult to every 5 children. Did you remember all the different ways you can write it down? Don't worry if you didn't. Have a look at mine just to remind yourself. Okay, well done. We're now going to use our newfound ratio skills to solve some problems. Here we have some sweets. We have 2 red sweets and 3 blue sweets in the packet. Our ratio is 2 to 3. For every 2 red sweets, there are 3 blue sweets. So if there were 9 blue sweets, how many red sweets would there be? Remember, for every 2 red, there are 3 blue. So what do we multiply the 3 by to get the 9? That's right, we're going to multiply it by 3. So all we need to do to work out how many red sweets there are is multiply the red side by the same. 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. Correct. There would be 6 red sweets in that packet. Okay, let's take a look at another one. I want you to take a turn here as well and think about what the answer might be. Here we have some cows and goats. We have 5 cows and we have 3 goats. So the ratio of cows to goats is 5 to 3. If there were 6 goats, how many cows would there be? So let's use that method again. We're going to multiply the 3 goats by what to get our 6 goats? I want you to think about that, pause the video, and then see if you can work out how many cows there are. Welcome back. I wonder if you worked out how many cows there are. We're going to go through the method and check. Hopefully you multiplied the goats by 2. That will have given us the 6. And then you will have done the same on the other side. So multiplying our 5 cows by 2, we get, that's correct, 10. If you got 10 cows, then you did the method absolutely correctly. And there we have 10 very happy looking cows. Let's look at problem solving in a slightly different way now. Here we have 84 marbles. That's a lot of marbles, isn't it? Now, Jenny has 84 marbles. 5 in 7 of those marbles are green. We're going to use this now a bit more like a fraction. So we're going to work out actually what 1 part is first. And that's what you have to do in ratio sometimes. Think of it like fractions a little bit, because fractions is breaking something up into smaller pieces, and so is ratio. So 84 divided by 7 is 12. So we know then that 1 part of 84 is 12. And we know that 5 in the 7 are green. So we need to multiply that 12, that 1 part, by 5. And what do we get? Well, indeed, we get 60. So we know she has 60 green marbles. Let's look at a different one. Here we have a farmer, and he has a lot of sheep and a lot of pigs. He has 48 sheep and 96 pigs. That's a big ratio. Let's work out the ratio of sheep to pigs, and we're going to try and work it out, and then we're going to try and simplify it, make it smaller, easier to look at if you like. What could we divide 48 and 96 by? So think about the times tables. Which times tables does 48 and 96 appear in? We could divide it by 12. Okay, so 48 divided by 12 is 4. And 96 divided by 12 is 8. That makes our ratio 4 to 8. That's much more simple than looking at 48 sheep to 96 pigs. We know for every 4 sheep, there are 8 pigs. But we could actually simplify that ratio down even further. We could divide it by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. That takes our ratio down to 2 to 4. So for every 2 sheep, there are 4 pigs. Well, we could actually go even more simple and divide the 2 again by 2 to get your 1, and divide the 4 by 2 to get 2. And our ratio then is 1 to 2. That has taken the ratio right down to its most simple form. Let's have a look at another one. Here we have a question telling us to divide 49 into the ratio of 4 to 3. If ratio questions start to confuse you, just remember to work out how much 1 part of the ratio is worth. And we do that by adding the 2 sides of the ratio together. So let's do that. 4 add 3 is 7. We're going to divide now that 49 by 7 to get what 1 part is. 49 divided by 7 is 7. So we know then that 1 part is 7. All we have to do now is go back to that ratio of 4 to 3. We multiply each side of the ratio by that 1 part to work out what 4 parts are and 3 parts are. 4 times 7 is 28, and 3 times 7 is 21. So, going back to our original question, divide 49 into the ratio of 4 to 3, it would be 28 to 21. Here's a different one for you. Sally is picking berries. For every 5 berries she picks, so imagine she picks 5 berries, she puts 2 in her mouth and eats them because she must be hungry. For every 5, she eats 2. There are 28 berries in total. First of all, how many berries is she picking when she does this 5 and 2? Well, 5 plus 2 is 7, so she must be picking 7 berries each time. And each time she picks those 7 berries, she is going to be eating 2. Let's find out what 1 part is again. Remember, when we did it in the other one, we added the 2 parts of the ratio together to get 7. 28 berries were picked, divided by 7, gives us a 1 part of 4. So let's go back to our ratio, 5 to 2. 5 multiplied by our 1 part of 4 is 20, and 2 multiplied by our 1 part of 4 is 8. That tells us that she picks 28 berries. 20 she puts in the basket, and 8 she puts in her belly. She eats them. Okay, it's your turn now. This is similar to a question we've just done. I want you to divide 360 into the ratio of 1 to 5. Remember, we're going to find that 1 part first. How do we do that? Pause the video, have a go, and then come back and see if you've done it correctly. First of all, we're adding those parts together. So 1 plus 5 is 6. Then we want to divide that 360 by 6 and we get 60. Use your number facts here. You could do 36 divided by 6 and you know that's 6. And then you're just timesing it by 10 because 360 is 10 times bigger than 36. So we know then that one part is 60. So let's go back to that ratio they want us to divide it into. It was 1 to 5. So 1 multiplied by 60 is 60 and 5 multiplied by 60 is 300. So that 360 divided into the ratio of 1 to 5 is 60 to 300. And you could add those together just to make sure that you've got the right answer. 300 plus 60 takes us back to that big original amount of 360. We're going to take a look at proportion now because we've just done an awful lot of ratio. My suggestion is that you go back to the beginning of the video, look at the ratio section again before you move on to proportion, just to make sure that you really understand it all because there's a lot to take in. So proportion is when you scale up or scale down. It's not dissimilar from the simplifying that we were doing earlier. Often it's used when looking at recipes. So we're going to pretend that we're making something, and for that recipe we need 4 cups of milk to every 1 cup of flour. But we want to make pancakes for a lot of people. That 4 cups of milk to 1 cup of flour, that's probably not going to be enough for the amount of people that we want to make pancakes for. So we're going to upscale that ratio. Let's say we times the whole thing by 4 just to make it much, much bigger. We must make sure that we multiply both sides of the ratio by the same amount. So we multiply the 4 by 4 and that gives us 16, and we multiply the 1 by 4 and that gives us 4. So that means that we need 16 cups of milk and we need 4 cups of flour. That's still the right proportions for the recipe, but it's gonna give us a bigger amount at the end. Let's look at a slightly different one then. For every 3 bags of sugar, we need 4 lots of butter. We are going to times the whole amount and upscale it by 3. So, do you remember what we do when we want to make it bigger, upscale it, change the proportion? That's right. We need to multiply both sides by 3. So, the sugar, 3 multiplied by 3, and the butter, 4 multiplied by 3. That is going to then give us a ratio of 9 to 12. So, 9 bags of sugar to the 12 lots of butter. Well done, everybody. You have worked so hard today in understanding ratio and proportion. I hope that you feel a little bit more confident with it now. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell for notifications. Take care, guys.